Now, whether you're watching this video because you're moving to Minnesota or even if you already live here, the question remains the same. When is the best time of the year to buy a house in Minnesota? Oh, and here's a hint. It's not spring. Stay tuned. What's going on, guys? BrandonArchie here, aka your favorite Minnesota realtor, and today we're going to be talking about the biggest question that you may have, especially if you're relocating here from another state. When is the best time of the year to buy a house in Minnesota? But before we get started, I have a quick question for you guys. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos or if you've been following me for a while, then you may have noticed that my background is a little different. So I'm trying something new, and I would love to get your guys' opinion on what you think in the comments. And as always, if you're thinking about relocating to Minnesota and you want to get that process started, you can do so by shooting me an email at BrandonArchie@kw.com. And additional contact info is in the description of the video. But now, let's get started. Okay, so real estate in itself is actually a very predictable industry, and at least here in Minnesota, where the housing market has been pretty stable, even despite all the craziness going on over the last 3 years. And by predictable, I mean that home prices and home sales have pretty much done the same thing every year. Home prices start to slowly go upwards at the end of February into early March, aka the spring market. Then home prices typically hit their peak in June until they flatten out July and gradually start to go down throughout the rest of the year. And then the following year, the whole cycle continues again in March. Now, in case you don't believe me, here's a graph of the median sales price over the last 3 years in Twin Cities. As you can see, home prices have gone up every single year, and that every single year prices bottom out in January. That is, until they shoot straight up like me after my second cup of coffee. Now, there are some other common themes as well. The spring market will typically have the highest amount of buyers in the market, but also the highest amount of homes for sale on the market as well. Whereas in the fall and winter, there'll be less buyers on the market, but also less homes to pick from as well. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit further, starting with the spring market. So again, the spring market is going to be when most sellers list their homes because they know they're going to get the best price for it. Most people are looking forward to the warmer weather and don't want to move in the winter, understandably so. But they also don't necessarily want to move in the summer either because most families are going on vacation and things like that with kids being out of school. Further proving why spring is the busiest season of the year. Now, buyers on the other hand, I found that most people that I talk to that are currently renting tend to have summer leases that are up somewhere around May, June, or July. So it's only natural that those people start looking in the spring as well. Now, you would think that with all the sellers waiting until spring to buy that there would be enough homes for everyone, right? Well, no. Now, I'm sure you've heard all about the inventory issues all over the United States, and it's no different here in Minnesota. Our inventory has been going down every year as well, and in the spring where all of the buyers are looking, they're essentially all competing for the same exact homes, leading to multiple offers, which then raise home prices, and it also leads to buyers having to do things like waiving home inspections or even paying above the appraised value of the home just to have a chance to compete. So, to sum it up, the reason why spring market is not the best time of the year to buy is because 1, you're gonna have a lot more competition. 2, you're more than likely gonna have to pay more for the home. And 3, you're gonna have little to no room for negotiation. And if you're someone who also has to sell your home to buy your new one, you're gonna have to put in what's called a contingent offer. And contingent offers in a multiple offer situation is gonna put you in a very big disadvantage. Now, one bonus tip for anyone looking for new construction, during the off season when business is slower, most builders offer huge incentives to buy their homes so that they can get them sold faster. It's almost like shopping at the clearance rack of your favorite store. For instance, most of the builders in the Twin Cities area right now are offering incentives such as reduced interest rates, which could save you up to $500 or more on your monthly mortgage. Most builders are also offering things like $15,000 towards your closing costs. Some builders are also even offering money towards certain upgrades on the home. Now, during the busy spring season where buyers are buying homes left and right, you can almost be certain that these incentives will either be greatly reduced or even disappear altogether until the next off season. Now, based on everything I just got done saying, you can probably already guess what time of the year is the best to buy. Any guesses? Okay, so if we're talking about purely the price of the home, then every piece of data is going to show you that the best time of the year to buy a house in Minnesota is going to be December and November, hands down. And I mean, it's kind of obvious why. First, you have the holidays. People spending money, visiting family, getting ready for the new year. But even more so, you have the beginning of winter. Dude, what the Sellers aren't selling their home because they don't want to deal with a move in the middle of the holidays unless it's someone who absolutely has to move. And they know that there aren't many buyers on the market, so they're not gonna get top dollar for their home. And just to put that price difference into perspective, the median sales price in June 2022 in the Twin Cities was $380,000. But in December that same year, the median sales price dropped to $349,000. Now in June of 2023, aka a few months ago, the median sales price in the Twin Cities was $382,000. So what do you think is about to happen over the next 4 months? Now, another benefit to buying later in the year is knowing that most sellers are going to wait until spring to sell their home so that they can get top dollar. So with that being said, you already know that anyone that is currently selling their home is more than likely selling because they have to, which is going to give you more leverage as a buyer. Homes typically sit on the market a little bit longer during these months, and it gives you more wiggle room to negotiate if needed. Something that you probably won't see too much, if at all, during the spring and summer. So my question to you is, why wait until the spring or summer when you could potentially knock off $25,000 to $30,000 off the purchase price by buying later in the year? So if you're watching this right now because you're moving to Minnesota, or if you already live here and you're looking to buy a home, then the answer to your question is you should be looking right now if you want the best deal with the least amount of competition. Don't say I didn't warn you.